guys? It is your girl, Donjia M. And we are back with another Ask 15 Questions 2. And we are here today with my girl, Imani, beat to the gods face over here. Over here. She just came on and just was laid and slayed. But this episode of Ask 15 Questions is Ask 15 Questions to someone who dealt with postpartum depression. So thank you so much, Imani, for coming on here to show people that my makeup isn't done, as well as just accepting my offer to come and deal with all of these questions that we are going to be asking you and giving us more information. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I am shamed. I'm going to be talking about this beat face the whole episode, but
you know what?
We'll get more into that a little bit later. But we are going to jump right in because she already told me she don't have nothing to say in the beginning. So we're going to jump right in. Question number one.
Okay.
Tell us about yourself.
People ask me this question, and not like a bad hate, because I'm very shy. That's one thing. I'm very shy. As you said, I am a makeup artist. I'm a wife of almost 5 years and a mom. That's basically me.
Yes, a makeup artist. Almost 5 years. When will it be 5 years?
November 5th.
November.
Are you praying for me? Praying for me.
Got this. And your son is how old?
He is 1. He'll be 2 in April.
Almost 2. Terrible 2s.
He already started that.
Okay. Okay. All right. So question number 2, tell us, well, you kind of already are alluding to it, but number 2, tell us about your family.
Do you just want my immediate, my husband and my son?
You can tell us about your tribe if you want. That's fine.
Okay. My son his name is Luke. He's goofy, silly. He's like me. Okay. But on another level of me. He looks just like me. I would bring him in, but this thing would be canceled if I did. My husband is the total opposite of me. He's very calm and collected. He has a little bit of a temper, but he is to himself. He keeps his emotions to himself, but we make it work. And I can't forget my mom. That's my homegirl. That's like my best friend. Yeah, that's basically it. That's all.
And we are going to be inserting pictures, so you would have seen them, son, husband, mom, even. So yeah, that's the tribe. That is the tribe. Okay. Question number 3. How was your pregnancy? So almost 2 years ago, but over 2 years ago, because how was your pregnancy?
To be quite honest, I can't complain. I had a great pregnancy. Okay. Labor was crazy, but I had a great pregnancy. The first couple of months, the first 2 months, I had really bad sickness, but I had a great pregnancy. I kind of I thought I was going to lose the baby, but that was my anxiety, because everybody was like, well, the first couple of months, the first 14 weeks, you can't do this, you can't do that, because you lose the baby. And that, once you say something to me, you might as well stick it on me. That's how my anxiety works. But I basically prayed through it, and I had a great pregnancy. I really did. I can't.
Okay, so you alluded to labor. This is not one of the questions, but tell us about your labor.
Okay. I don't remember the day. I think it was Monday night.
I said, you don't know your son's birthday?
It was Monday, I believe Monday night. I texted that day. I was like, I'm really having stomach issues. He was like, okay, I'm gonna leave work. Later on that night, I was like, these contractions are I thought it was gas pains, actually. I was like, these gas pains are something serious. I'm hungry. Let's go to the grocery store and get lasagna. I think it was around 10 o'clock. We went to the grocery store, 10 o'clock at night. We went to the grocery store, and I'm in the grocery store people looking at me like, oh, weird. And I'm just like, can I help you? I'm just, can I help you? I made lasagna. I'll actually send you a picture of the lasagna because I took a picture of it. And my mom was like, I think you're in labor. And I was like, nah, I'm not in labor. I knew what labor was.
Right.
But I'm like, no. Mm-mm. But then I was like, God, if this is labor, I'm ready. Let's go. Bring on the pain. I should have never said that. That was rude of me. I apologize, God. I got in the shower and then I saw my mucus plug. So I called my mom. I'm like, I don't know exactly what this is. She goes, it's your mucus plug. You're in labor. You got to go to the doctor. That was like around 2:00 in the morning. So I woke Eric up. First of all, I'm in pain. He hears me in pain. I'm like, babe, I think I'm having contraction. He goes, yeah, that's nice. Just sleep.
That's like, you call sleep.
Right. I'm like, Eric, it's go time. He's like, what? I'm like, it's go time. Let's go. Now we've been to the doctors because I've hit myself. I ran into a wall one time while I was pregnant. I was running down the stairs, ran into the wall. Okay. So we've constantly been back and forth to the doctors, to the hospital. So at this point, he's just like, it's another trip that we're going to be sent right back home. So we get there and he goes, you can take your mom in the room. I'm gonna wait out here. Cause he didn't think anything of it. So we're in there and they strap the thing onto me. Am I being too long with my story?
No, go.
And they're posting they put the monitor on my stomach and I see the monitor, it says 45, then it goes up to 60, then it goes to 45, and it goes to 35. And I'm like, Ma, is that my heartbeat? Cause that's kind of low. So the nurse comes back and she goes, we don't like where the baby's heartbeat is. We're going to immediately take you upstairs. So I got scared, but I tried to still be positive. So my mom goes and gets Eric. We go in the room and she goes, we're going to have to induce your labor. And I said, okay. She was like, well, it brings, bad contractions. Do you want an epidural? And I was like, bring it. I give it to me. So
I will insert that needle somewhere over here. I've seen pictures.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I didn't see it. I think I saw the actual needle about a week ago because I never seen it before.
I probably should not have researched because at this point I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But so how does it feel?
First of all, the nurse is supposed to hold you. That nurse stared at me instead of holding me. So you have to hold your contractions, which tenses up your body so you don't move or it can paralyze you if they hit the wrong thing. So I had to hold it. They put it in, which didn't hurt that bad. And then I was like, okay, I was having bad contractions. I didn't feel it. Once they said that I was 10 centimeters, I got labor back labor. When I tell you, it feels like somebody stabbing in the back, dragging it down, then putting it back and dragging it down. I was screaming, I was shaking stuff. And they're like, come on, Mom, you got to push. I'm like, no, I don't care. Just get this out of me. Get this baby out of me. Okay. Eric's like, look, Imani, Lion King is on. I grabbed him by his hoodie. I said, Eric, shut up and get out the room and let him go. Like, I don't care about Lion King right now. I'm trying to push a baby.
He was trying to distract you.
No, he was very horrible. My mother held it down. And I'm kind of like, they're like, oh, you got to push. And something just told me to stop pushing. So I stopped pushing. And they're like, Mom, push. I'm like, no, I want a C-section. They're like, no, that's major surgery. We're not going to do it. I was like, I want a C-section. They're like, no, Mom. I looked at my mom. My mom was like, she said she wants a C-section. The doctor was like, okay, we'll prep you for it right now. Wow. When we got in the room, I was in really bad pain. They gave me another epidural.
In your back?
Yes.
Another one?
Yes, in my back that I was already having.
Pain in?
Yes. So I remember, once again, the nurse didn't help, hold me. I remember screaming, I can't hold this contraction any longer. I can't hold it any longer. They put me to sleep without me knowing that they put me to sleep. I woke up. I felt them cutting me. I woke up. I was like, I feel that. Then went back to sleep. I woke up again and I heard a baby cry, but it didn't like hit me that was my kid because I was already drugged up on 2 epidurals. Okay.
You was high as a kite, child.
Then I woke up in the recovery room, like, where's my child? Where's my child? A nurse came in and said, good thing you wanted a C-section. The umbilical cord was around his neck.
Shut up. That was the Holy Ghost.
Right. Imagine if I could have kept pushing. You know what I mean? Imagine like,
and they wouldn't have seen that until he crowned and the doctors do their old hand things. They wouldn't have felt that until that moment.
Right.
Wow.
So I immediately got upset because it's like, if you saw my baby's, oxygen level was low, why didn't you check to see what was the cause? And I believe that was one of the start of my postpartum, to be quite honest, because my mind was like, what if he would have died? Why didn't I do anything or say anything earlier to prevent this? But yes, that was my labor. That's how crazy everything went.
Woo!
I was for the first day because of all the medication that I was on. I woke up. We did skin to skin. I went back. It was my mom, Eric's mom, my aunt, and Eric in the room once they got me settled into the room. I woke up. Everybody was gone, and my child wasn't in my arms. I don't know how that happened. That's how drugged up I was. I don't remember anything.
Ooh, child, that was a labor.
Right.
That was intense. Whoa. Okay, so you kind of talked about like that moment being the start of, or you think that being the start of like your postpartum depression. So question number 4 is, what is postpartum depression for those of us who may not really know?
Okay. Postpartum depression is a change of mood or hormones in a woman before you give birth or even after you give birth. You can, get those symptoms. So that's basically what postpartum depression is.
And that's, I think, a common misconception is that a lot of people think that it is after. So, you just alluding to like before the birth, you can actually begin to have those things.
Yes.
Okay. Question number 5. How did you know you were dealing with postpartum depression?
Well, like I said, that was the beginning. I didn't know because when we would go to doctor's appointments, when I would go to doctor's appointments, they would ask those questions. Well, from the scale of 1 to 0, how are you feeling? How are you dealing with this issue? And I'm like, I'm fine. It's good. What? No, that's not me. And I think that moment when a certain person did something to me and my family, and I reacted in a way that I normally don't react. And I knew that something was wrong. It wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't being myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, something's not right here. Now, what should have warned me, I wasn't connected to my son. Like, I loved my son, but there were times where I was just like, okay, can somebody come get this baby? Or he would, do things and it would irritate me. But I just didn't feel that connection with my son to the point. Sometimes now I kind of I'm trying to
yeah, let it out. Let it out.
Sometimes I look at baby pictures and I'm like, dang, I really wish I had that connection with my son. I want to go back in time to kind of regain those experiences.
That moment.
I'm gonna try not to cry.
Listen. Not thug it out. We don't have to do that here. No, wow. No, I think a lot of, you don't realize with any form of depression, right? You don't realize how much, how many moments you actually do miss. And then you said, pictures, you be like, oh, Jesus, I either don't remember this moment or I wasn't really in this moment. So I wish that I could do it again. Yeah, I know. I know. I mean, I don't have any children, but being someone who dealt with depression, I know that. right? Like I don't stop yourself from crying, please.
I know, I'm just trying to like, one, you said my makeup.
You don't want to mess up her makeup. That's what it is.
Let's keep this intact, okay?
Okay, question number 6. Did you go to a therapist? Why or why not?
No, I didn't. I was kind of, postpartum depression isn't really talked about. Mm-hmm. Nobody really talks about it. I was embarrassed, and I didn't know that I had it, and I didn't want to be medicated either. Like, who wants to be medicated? Who wants to be labeled as, oh, this chick is crazy, we need to keep an eye on her? Because, so many people that deal with it either harm their child, harm themselves. And I didn't want them to put me on any antidepressants because I didn't know how my body was going to react to that. So I was just like, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
I was not ready for that. Huh? I said I was not ready for that.
And that's like one in our culture, right? Like you said, not just postpartum depression, but depression at large. Especially both of us being believers and in church. I think now more so, a lot of people are talking about it because there have been a lot more instances where we have lost like pastors and things like that to suicide because of them being depressed and not coming out about it. So mental health is like a conversation now, but it was not always. And the fact that like I can relate to that sense of shame that you said that you had, because that's how I felt. I'm like, you're the praise and worship leader. You're the youth leader. You're this. Like, how can you really come out and say that you're dealing with this darkness that you really can't explain when people are just going to tell you to pray and you need to pray harder and, not dealing with that. Then it made me question like my strength and my faith and my connection to God. It was just so much. But it's just like, no, like you can deal with stuff like that. And you can go to a therapist, you can decline any medication, that is always like the stigmas that you have with like therapists and depression, that people want to put you on medication and all that other stuff. Cause that's what I felt too. Like, I barely want to take regular medicine. So I'm not about to take no medicine for you thinking no, you don't know.
Exactly.
But question number 7. Well, don't hold back with you. What was the hardest part of the whole process? I think you kind of mentioned it, but what was the hardest part about the whole entire thing?
Oh, okay. I prepped myself for these questions, okay? I did. So I don't know why I'm doing this now, but nobody talks about this, the voices that you hear in your head. I felt like it was a mental battle. I felt it was so loud. I think, and this is the first time that I'm telling anybody this, but they were so loud that when my son cried, that's what irritated me more, because he was loud and the voices in my head were loud. Ooh. So it was kind of getting over that. And I remember praying before, when I found out that I was pregnant. I'm like, God, take everything that is not like you, because I don't want this to get over to my child. I don't want my child to struggle with the things that I had to struggle with.
Yeah.
And I kept listening to Jonathan McReynolds' Cycles. It's the devil will learn from your mistakes, even if you don't. That's how he keeps you in cycles. Mm-hmm. And when I was going through this, and the voice in my head, God exposed that I suffered from anxiety and depression way before I even got pregnant. Mm. And I would never have known this if I would have never been through this process. Wow. I would have never known that I dealt with those things. And the reason why I kept dealing and going in circles is because Satan knew how to get to me. Satan knew how to do certain things to me to keep me in depression. I'm talking about voices so loud that at one point hours will go by and I'll be sitting in one spot, not doing anything. That's how emotionally drained I was. And oh God, I try not to cry.
Go ahead.
God. And I talked to myself beforehand. I said, you're not gonna cry. But no, getting over the voices in your head, voices telling me to harm my child, to harm myself. It was hard. It was so hard to ignore it. It was so hard to get past it. I felt like I was alone because nobody understood what I was going through. I felt alone. And I had to fight. That was the only way. I had to fight for me. I had to fight for my son, and I had to fight for my mental health. That was the only way that I honestly dealt with it. That was the hardest part though. Just dealing with those voices of telling me I'm not good enough, things that happened to me in the past that I never gotten over with, that I had to deal with it. I honestly did. I had to take those things head on, and I had to forgive others for hurting me. I had to forgive myself for hurting me. It was so many things that I had to get over in order for me to get over this postpartum. This is like the first time. I know when everybody sees it, they're gonna be like, but the voices were definitely, they were loud. They were loud.
And like, unless you experience it, you don't understand.
No, you don't know what's going on. You don't. There was times where I had to, smile, but it was, those things were really loud. To be quite honest, you woke up and it would hit you, go to sleep in the middle of the night. You would just, it was just loud. That's how I can explain it. It was just loud.
Listen, I can relate. Okay. I remember telling a group of young people that we were having like a powwow, and like this was like post overcoming season, that there was a time where Satan's voice was so much louder than God. So much louder for me. So much louder. Like, and I knew it was Satan because I know how God talks. And that was the thing for me. Like it was, but I also knew it was because of what I was feeding myself. Like the thing that I fed the most is what grew. And like you said, like healing from past hurts, healing from that trauma, healing from those pains, healing from the things that people did that they will never probably get an apology for, that you still have to move on and say, God, I'm healed from this. I forgive them, even if they don't know that, you know what I'm saying?
That's still bothering you. Right.
And that's be the biggest thing, because sometimes it happens and people don't even know. And I think one of the things for me was scriptural stuff. God gave me weapons for real. Like the Bible had become and still is my weapon of warfare. Like so I know.
What I meant to say. That's what I meant to say. That's definitely one of the ways you had to. I would get scriptures. Yeah, it's a fight. It's like you fighting somebody on the street. That's how you just
throw it up. And sometimes multiple times a day, right? Exactly. Like most people think that it's just like, all right, you get up, you fight, and then you're good. No, because sometimes it can hit you midday. Sometimes, and then you fight to try to get better, but then at night it hits you again. Like even to present day, right? I tell people my overcome story is not the fact that I don't deal with emotional spouts or moments of depression trying to overwhelm me. I just now am better equipped to fight.
Exactly.
Or I would not. Or I wouldn't.
Didn't know what you was doing. Didn't know.
Before I would get up, do praise and worship, go home, and then fuss, and then contemplate how I could end this. What strategy can I do now? Because I can believe me. I haven't had a child, but that is even healing for me, for you to say that you realized in this that you were dealing with this prior to even being pregnant. So it was your pregnancy and after the fact that exposed, that brought to light things that God really wanted to heal for you. And
that, could mentally, break me down, could have killed me. God used it as a testimony. So I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful. I wouldn't want to go through it again, but I'm grateful for the woman that it.
He said, "Not again, Jesus. Not again."
No.
I learned. I got it.
Right. I got it. You don't have to bring it back. I got it.
I'm telling you, but my famous motto has become, especially in 2020, even now being in the new year of 2021, that God reveals what he wants to heal. Definitely does. I firmly believe that. And it's ugly stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like like you see a cut on yourself. It don't always look, you don't be like, oh, this is so pretty. Like you don't do that. Exactly. Like you see a wound, you see a cut, you hurt yourself. But there's a sense of exposing that has to get, after a while, they're like, take that Band-Aid off because it needs to get air, it needs to heal. And that's what God does.
It's ugly before it hits.
Okay. All the way ugly. And sometimes even more ugly because we be pulling the scab,
Exactly.
And all that other stuff. So listen, come on. We just preached the whole sermon on wounds and scabs. Y'all better pay attention. Oh man. Okay. Question number 8. You said that during that time that you felt alone. But question number 8 is, how did your family support you?
I know
you can be honest. Yeah.
I'm gonna be very transparent. I just don't want no phone calls after this. You know what? My mom didn't understand it. To my family, I'm over the top, I'm dramatic all the time. So when this happened, I think they thought it's just Imani being Imani. I feel like sometimes they do that. But once my mom talked to her friend, my Aunt Diana, who dealt with it, she was like, this is serious. And then my mother she would see me at the moment where I would just yell and the baby would be like, what the heck is going on? Because I couldn't take it. She's like, I'll take the baby. Or, I'll do this. You know what? I really didn't get that much support from family. Besides my mom, I really didn't. My dad would, he would call me every now and then. And he would pick me up sometimes. If I really needed him, he would be there. But other than that, I really didn't get that much support from family. I know I'm probably going to get a phone call. My cousin Tristan, who moved away, he would call when he could because he had to work. So I'm not going to be mad at him for that. He worked a lot. His wife Brittany, who didn't know that I was dealing with this at all, she would call me after she had the baby. She would text me at 4:00 in the morning. I'm up. What about you?
Right.
Not knowing that I was battling everything. I'd be like, yeah, I'm up. And she would talk to me. She would send me scriptures. She would say nice things to me. Eric's father, he is my family. Eric told him that I was dealing with it. And I remember on my birthday, he sent me money. He was like, go get your nails done. Go get your feet done. And then he would make sure every Sunday he would pick us up and he would take me out. He would take me out to eat. And he would just make sure that I was doing something so I wouldn't be stuck in the house with my thoughts. But other than that, besides those people that I named, I didn't really get any help.
And for a lot of people, for anyone watching this is a great moment for me to pause for calls, as we say in my school, because it is easy to get engulfed into how a person is, that you don't take such serious matters serious. Right. When we hear of the stories of every time I hear a story of someone who committed suicide, the punchline is always, they were such a happy person. I had no clue, right? And it is always the happy, the strong, the silly, the dramatic. That person is the person that you need to check in on.
Exactly.
Because that's the person that's not going to voice, hey, I'm battling with these things and these voices are telling me how to end my life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not going to get that. So those are the people that we want to be more precautious with and take more time with and really see about those people. Like, I don't blame anyone for, I can attest again to the non-support, but I also was non-voice. I didn't say anything. So it wasn't until I came out about how I was feeling that anyone even knew, because I masked very well. I masked very, 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 very well. It wasn't, and I call him my dad. He's my former pastor. It wasn't until I was in a session with him that I opened up about the stuff that I was dealing with, and he cried because he had no clue. My mother, my grandmother, as powerful of women of God as they are, they had no clue, right? They had no clue what was going on with me, because Donjia is always the bubbly, silly, always making a joke. And even to this day, like, I thank God that my husband now takes more precautions. He's learning, praise God. But I think with, and we're going to get into that, because question number 9, because I want you to kind of talk about was your husband impacted in any way? But yeah, my husband is learning that if I'm saying to you that something is wrong with me, adhere to it. Because the danger is that when I stop talking, you're not.
Exactly.
Right? So, okay, enough of me talking. Question number 9, was your husband impacted in any way that you know of?
Yes, it definitely took a strain on our relationship. When I gave birth, I believe when we came home a day later, girl, it's okay, you're on the way, you tired.
I was trying to make sure this.
I think a day or 2 later, he went back to work. So after that, I was basically, my mom did stay for a couple of days, but I was home by myself with a kid, and he didn't get home until 8:00 at night. So dealing with this and hearing a kid that, was colicky cry all day, and you're just like, okay, you're home, let me get a break. He didn't give me a break. He would always, his way of dealing with it was not dealing with it. So I believe that added on more stress because I had to do more. I had to cook, clean, deal with the baby. I didn't get a break at all. I mean, I'm talking about my mother would come here and there, but I didn't get a break at all. He really didn't wake up to feed the baby. He didn't really, he told me to be as transparent, dogging my husband out. But he didn't really, he wasn't that much of a help. His way of dealing with, me being upset was him not doing anything at all. So there were times where he would just go out with his friends and I would be left home. Somebody that's been home every day, all day, which is dangerous for somebody that's dealing with mental health, to be home all the time in the house. So he wasn't there at all. He wasn't much of help. He wasn't there at all.
And does he know, this is not one of my questions, because the viewers, they be like, when you ain't asked 15, you asked 16. This is not one of my questions. Okay, I'll be coming for my name. Does he know this now? Like the way that you felt, how you felt alone, how you felt that he wasn't there?
The thing is, he knows it now, but I expressed that to him all the time.
Oh, even then. Wow.
I express that to him all the time. And I don't think when Eric feels like he's dealing with too much, he'll leave. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's not there mentally. And with him not being present, our marriage was in a bad place, to the point that I was ready to leave. He said it was okay for me to say that, but I was ready to leave. Now he is more of a help because he noticed what I've been through. Mm-hmm. We have actually, prayed together. Our marriage is so much better than what it was. It's so much better than what it was. He
almost 5 years, child. Listen.
And it's just, I'm not complaining, Lord, but it's just getting together. But yeah, now he's more of a help. He's getting there. He cooks for me when there's times where I've emotionally drained. He'll cook, he'll clean. Not much so changing diapers, but
take what we get.
Right. I'm gonna just take what I can get. You know what I mean? He loves to clean. He loves to cook. I'm not mad at that. I'll take it. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, he wasn't that much of a help. And I believe that's what added on to my depression. I remember one time we were having an argument and I said, the fact that you don't see that your wife is sinking right in front of you is beyond me. And I think that's what opened his eyes. Like, did she just say that she is sinking and dying emotionally and I'm not even present? Like I didn't even notice. And he was, ever since that argument happened, he has been trying. I could say that. Wow. He has been trying.
I mean, and that's a blessing, right? Because I think men are just cut different. I don't, I laugh at all of the memes of like, hey, when mom gets sick and it's like all these things that mom did. And it's like when dad gets sick, nothing gets done. Like,
right.
Everything is on mom.
You made them the head of the house, but I trust you, Lord. I trust you.
Okay. He didn't say he had to maintain the house. That's what we got tricked at. No, I'm just
right.
But yeah, I think that men definitely they emotionally sometimes, not for all men, because for some women, like I'm just now getting to the point where I communicate my emotions. Normally I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm all right. And I will be all types of tornadoes and hurricanes and tsunamis, all of in this brain. Yeah. But now I'll be like, yeah, I'm sad and I don't really know why. And like he knows how to, or he's learning how to give me like one of my top love languages is quality time. Like, yeah. So just spending time, just being by him, like you not on your phone, you talking to me, like actually just like chilling and chatting with me. Like I'll be good. I'm fine. But when I have like so much stuff that I'm doing, so overwhelmed with like other things, and I don't have those moments, I find myself being a lot more burdened down. And I'd be like, all right, I need some time. Let's go take a nap. Like,
right. Take a nap.
Question number 10. Did any other women in your family suffer from postpartum depression that you know of?
No. And if they did, they didn't talk to me about it, but no.
I was about to say that. They may not have even known. How old is your mom? If you don't mind me asking. Mom, sorry.
No. I love my mom. I don't know. I think she's 53.
I can't. Sister, I think.
Because sometimes I get her year wrong, and she's like, Imani. I'm like, I'm sorry. Listen, just.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about like the age, like growing up. Yeah, my mom did too. My mom did too, and I was a colicky baby. So like when I hear stories about like how my mom was with like my grandmother, because my grandmother was heavily around while I was born. Like I don't really know. I don't know if they would call it like, hey, this was postpartum depression. Like
right, and that's another thing. Good thing you elaborated on that. I got that from a lot of women, not even just women in my family. Well, I did it, so I'm sure you'll be okay.
Right.
And it's kind of like your struggle isn't my struggle.
Exactly.
The things that you struggled with doesn't mean I had to struggle with it. You get what I'm saying? My mental health may not be your struggle.
Right. And my capacity for it is not the same as yours.
And that's what aided. That's another thing that aided to my postpartum. It's like, okay, well, they didn't have this. They got through this. And there were so many times where like, Amanda, you couldn't do this? Because Luke takes naps. But he only took naps for 30 minutes and then he would cry and then I would have to sit there and hold him. So I wasn't able to do anything. You get what I'm saying? Just because your child slept good for you doesn't mean that my child slept good for me.
Right.
I mean, I didn't get that too much from my mom. I will say that, but there was times where my mom was just like, things is different now. She was like, I don't know what I can't give you any advice because things is different.
Yeah.
Like, that
just be honest. But
like,
I believe that if people would realize that a lot more, like even with today's youth, right? Things are just different.
Right.
I could give you advice from when I was your age, but it's different. Like y'all got stuff.
Yes.
And doing stuff.
That's why I'm scared to not talk to them, but I'm scared to like be a youth leader because things are so different now for teenagers. I'm like, I didn't struggle with, wanting to have sex and stuff like that. And that's so dominant in this generation.
It is. So and then just doing whatever you want to do, and then doing a whole year of school virtual. We never
had to do that. Okay.
Never had to do that. So yeah, I think if people may not have coined it as postpartum depression, but they might have experienced it. And that's a big thing for like a lot of the older generation.
Right.
There wasn't a name for things, right? In our generation is when it became like, oh, it's depression, it's anxiety, it's schizophrenia, it's this, right. It's that, right. It's this, it's that. Like, but back in the day, they ain't really have, like, they wasn't really naming stuff for people or saying you had, and also the pharmaceutical company wanted to get more money. So they had to name stuff to medicate you to get your money. And don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to medication, right? But be led to do it because certain side effects is real. Okay.
Right.
And things attached to that is also very real. But be led to do it.
Antidepressants, right? One of the symptoms is depression. So I don't get it. Are you helping me with it or are you aiding it? I'm just not sure.
I knew I didn't want to take medication when you have a commercial that's nice and fancy and then they run down the side effects and it's like, wait, what did he say?
Right.
I was like, are these tongues? What's happening?
Are you rebuking demons?
Like, yes, like what is happening? Okay. Antidepressant may cause depression, may cause suicidal thoughts. Hold up, wait. Right. So where are we? What am I doing?
I'm good on my own. That's good on my own.
Pray is what you're telling me to do. Okay.
Right.
But yeah, so like back in the day, they didn't really have like the title. So we may never know the world. Okay, question number 11. Did your relationship and connection with your son swirl down in any way? Swirl down? I don't know what I meant by that word. Spiral, I think I meant to say.
I got it. I got it. So it didn't
swirl down. Yes, I did.
Well, yes. There were moments where we were happy, but like I said, I did not feel connected to him. There were times where he really wanted to be around me and I didn't want to be bothered. To be quite honest, the fact that he wanted me so much irritates me. So I was like, God, can you just please let him not want to be bothered with me so much, to the point now that I'm so connected with him that he doesn't want to be bothered with me. It hurts my feelings.
You'll never know what we want to pray for.
Right.
Take it away. Bring it back. Right. Limit it. Add it up.
He likes to be around my mother more than me. And I'm kind of like, I birthed you. He hurts my feelings, but it's all good.
So how long did that last? How long did that last? Well, like your connection, like how long did it take for you to actually feel connected to him?
January of this year.
2021.
Yeah, that's how long I've dealt with postpartum. Yeah, I would say either December or January of 2021. That's how long I've dealt with it. Because I was blinded for months that I had it. And then it got to a point in early 2020, where it just got really bad. And I'm talking about really bad.
So okay, let me do my math right. You had your son in 2019?
Yes.
Okay.
April
of 2019. So that whole year, the rest of that year, you didn't really acknowledge it. but 2020 earlier part, it got really bad. And you were like,
and then I was like, something is wrong. Something's not right here. So that's when I was like, okay, that's when I started telling people that I had it. Like, if you would look, I cut all of my hair off at one point because all of my hair was falling out.
I think I remember you saying.
And I was telling people, I said, dealing with postpartum depression. And that was like my cry, like, somebody help me. Didn't get that. I didn't get the best response from that.
I didn't see it.
No, it's okay, girl. It's okay. You know, there were some people, let me acknowledge those people. Like a lady in my church, Sister Hester, reached out to me. Tashina reached out to me. Felicia reached out to me. But other than that, and like I said, my Aunt Diana, other than that, I didn't get anything. And that was like my cry for help. Like, somebody help me. I don't know what I'm dealing with. So help me. Nothing.
Ooh, listen to those cries, people. I'm telling you, it's real out here. It is real.
And I don't get on Facebook and say all my emotions.
Yeah.
So for me to come out and say, this is what I'm dealing with, help me, and nobody had anything to say, was like, okay, Imani, you're on your own. And the people that said, oh, I can't wait for you to have a kid. I can't wait for you where are you at now? Where are you at now?
This kid, I had it.
Yeah.
You want it?
I mean, it's mine to take care of, but where are you at? It takes a village. Where's the village at?
And that's why, like, the hype of it, listen, I love everybody. People be asking me and my husband all the time, like, we only been married 3 minutes.
Not 3 minutes.
Wait a minute. Like, somebody at my church just said that to us. I was holding somebody else's baby and I was feeding the baby because he wanted to come to me. I like babies. I'm not against them.
Right.
And then, but people see with the baby, like, it must be time. Are you ready?
Exactly.
No.
and that's what's, you know what I would say? I was depressed in that moment because a lot of people would be like, when are you having a kid? And nobody knows this. I'll say it now. Me and Eric tried for like a year and some change. My doctor told me the way that my uterus was, that she didn't think I was going to get pregnant. So when you ask somebody that question, you don't know what they're dealing with. So I was kind of like depressed. I'm like, Eric, do you still want to be married to me even if I can't give you a kid? And he was like, Imani, if you can't have a kid, we'll adopt. But I know that we're going to be able to have a kid. And stop asking me whether I want to be with you or not.
I said what I said. Now.
Right. Like, stop. I remember at a baby shower, so many people came up to me and was like, when are you having a baby? That I ran outside and I was having a panic attack because I was, and Eric came out there was like, are you okay? I'm like, no. What if this would ever happen to us? Why do people keep asking me these questions? And I remember before I even got married, my pastor was like, your breakthrough, your healing will be in you singing in the choir. A year before I got pregnant, I started directing the choir. And I was helping Eric out. He was the choir director. Okay. I said, I'll lead the song for you. I'll help you, I'll direct the song for you. Not a problem. It was The Blood Still Works. And the choir did an amazing job. And everybody was like, you should, direct. I don't know anything about music. I don't know anything about notes or keys.
She lying.
Okay. So we had a concert and we did one concert. The second concert, I was pregnant, didn't even know it. By the time we did the second concert, like a couple weeks later, I was pregnant and I didn't even know it.
Wow.
See what obedience will do.
And I'm telling you, when you just adhere to what the Lord said, like this and then this, okay? We just want this part. We don't want to do the part that we got to obey. We don't want to do that part. Right. But no, that is very true. That pregnancy question, I remember Tasha Cobbs mentioning that about her and her husband, because after they got married, that was like a lot of the comments that they would get, a lot of the statements that they would get, but not knowing about her infertile Like she could not get pregnant and that it took a toll on her. Yeah. And she did like a whole interview on it. Gabrielle Union said the same thing, like after her, like that she could not get pregnant. So the fact that, you know, they went the route that they went, and then for Tasha Cobbs, her husband already has children. So that was like, you know, and they have a plethora of godchildren. But she talked about like the pressure of that question and for people to be mindful when you ask that question because you don't know of the circumstance, you don't know of the situation,
right?
You know, but people just be talking.
And it's mainly women that ask those questions. You would think that you would understand that not everybody can have a kid. Not everybody are not. One thing that I said to people when my cousin told me to tell people this, because I'd be like, I don't know, you know, like I'll kind of, my cousin would be like, don't be so defensive. Say when God wants me to.
Yeah.
Because people have to understand you don't just have sex, boom, pregnant. It's when God wants you to get pregnant.
Okay.
People are like, yeah, that's how it happens. No, it's not. Because if God doesn't want you to get pregnant. If
that was the case, I'm going to just leave that right there.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, if God doesn't want you pregnant at that moment and at that time, you're not going to get pregnant. I don't care how many times you have sex.
And some of us need to thank God that we didn't get pregnant with the people that we was having.
Come on now.
Okay.
God saved some people, all right?
You ain't need that child and you ain't need that man, period. There it is.
Right.
But like you really just don't know like of the circumstances. But I'm on this journey where I try to understand people. It's very difficult. But I realized that a lot of women ask that question specifically because think about the role of the woman, right? From centuries ago. You weren't really thinking about a job. You weren't really thinking about a career. It was to be a housewife and to be a mother. So that was like your goal in life. Like if you look at old documentaries of like women talking, it's like, oh yeah, you know, my goal in life was to be a great wife and to be a mother. Like now, you don't even really have like people in our age bracket really saying that. So I can understand, especially from older women, like that concept of, okay, like when you're going to have a baby, because that was the mindset back in the day. Like you got married, you did it the Lord's way. Now you busting open and having 30 kids.
Excuse me for saying it, but it's so ignorant. For the time that we're in now, it's so ignorant to ask someone, when are you having a kid? Because you don't know the emotional toll that you're putting on somebody. And for me, it was like I said, my anxiety was, you can say something to me, you might as well write it down and stick it on me because that will be my thought for a while.
Mm. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if this is one of your questions, but that was another thing that aided to my postpartum was the fact that after I had my baby, he only latched on for 3 days. So I couldn't breastfeed. And I remember crying because I couldn't breastfeed. I'm like, my baby almost died. Now I can't feed him. I can't give him the, you know,
it's just like
he needs. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And the formula that they gave him, he would gag on. So that put me in another thing like, oh my goodness, I can't give him good milk. He has to drink this milk.
But he don't even like it. Right. Wow.
Right. And then women, when I would say, it was to the point where I eventually I didn't dry out, but my supply wasn't good enough for him. It wasn't feeding him. So I had to pump every 2 hours to try to get my supply up. When I tell you that you couldn't do anything, because I would feed him and try to pump at the same time. Then he would take a nap. I would have to pump 2 hours later. It was every 2 hours. You get what I'm saying? And that puts stress on you. That, puts stress on you. So when I told people, they're like, oh, he's drinking formula? Yes. You're not breastfeeding? These are from women who know how hard breastfeeding is. They're like, and one person said to me, which I thought I really wanted to tell them off. They're like, I hate when women say that they don't breastfeed, when that gives your child more nutrients. If I can't do it, what do you want me to do? I remember a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, and I love her to death. She was like, you don't breastfeed? Are you serious? Yes, I can't. What do you want me to do? And I remember a family member of mine was like, oh, I don't know anything about drinking formula. I only breastfeed. Thanks for adding on to the fact that I felt like crap. And the thing is, let's say this. People act like formula wasn't a thing back in the day when you used to watch kids.
Okay.
Breastfeeding wasn't as popular as it is now. So you had formula. So let's not act like formula is, oh my God, what is that? That's poison. Right. That's poison. People would say, well, you know that your child can get sicker if you give him formula, or he could be obese. My child, thank God, in the 2 years that he's been born, has not been sick. I know people that have been on breast milk that are sick or obese. So it's not the case. Don't make people out there, do not make anybody feel bad because they can't breastfeed.
Right. And then the reality is that no indictment on anyone and their lifestyle choosing. But if you are not taking the necessary precautions, if you are breastfeeding, you are giving your child crap anyway.
Exactly.
If you are putting crap inside of your body and it is not the mandated things from your doctor or the healthier things from your doctor, you are giving that to your child. So in this instance, formula is your best option. You're not willing to change your life for the Lord. Okay.
And then have the nerve to smoke some weed and be like, oh, are you? Like,
I don't know about formula. Well, you need to get to know it. Formula, this is this person, this is formula. Be friends, okay? But yeah, people, you don't think about that stuff. You don't think, and people do not think, and that is the problem. And that is a major thing in dealing with depression, because we are so self-absorbed, self-consumed, that when we speak, I try to monitor all of the things that I say. Do I always get it right? Absolutely not. But I try to come from a space where I know that things that people said triggered me. So I don't want to be a trigger for someone. So even down to my husband, like I'll say something and I am the way that I am. And I don't equate that I'm perfect or anything like that. But there's certain things about me that I've acknowledged. Like that is not good for everybody. Like Donjia, you could function like that within yourself, but voicing that to other people or speaking a certain way to other people, that it doesn't work for them. So I'm even precautious with that. I'll go to him like, you know what, forgive me. I did not mean to say it like that. I hope I didn't come off as offensive. And if I did, please forgive me. Even to my husband. Yeah, like even to my husband. That's just some people that I'm not all the way grown yet.
Right.
I'm still in preschool because I still just say whatever I want.
God, you're so stupid.
But I'm saying, I'm learning, but everyone doesn't think like that. Hey, when you gonna have baby, when you gonna do it? And it's innocent, right? It's innocent because you're just saying that and you feel like that's the thing to say. But then, okay, I'm married, so yes, you equate me being married to now having a child, right? But then you never ask the question of like, how are you feeling? How's your marriage? How are you guys doing?
Thank you.
Those are never the questions. No, it's just like when you guys get married, you dating somebody. When you get this man could be beating somebody upside the head when I'm getting married. Y'all not discerning nothing. Save the young girls, please. Like it's pushing everybody to the altar. I get it. But if it is not God ordained.
That's the thing in church. They feel like every woman should be married, have a kid, and be, a great wife.
It's the mindset of old. It is the mindset of the past generations because that was the role. And I'm not against it, but don't force that on me or be insensitive to the fact that I don't have a response for you or that I say, oh, no, not yet. Or no, I don't do that. Or even for people that don't want to have children. I can't imagine for someone to say that they don't want to have any kids. What? What is your purpose in life?
Right? He says be fruitful and multiply.
That's right. Okay. Question number 12. Okay. Tell us how you overcame.
I think kind of like dip dipped in that. But like I said, I had to forgive others. I don't know if you can see it now. I've kind of like, once again, I might rub people the wrong way, but certain people would make jokes about me not being as intelligent. So even, I don't know if you can see it. Sometimes when you talk to me, my brain tries to think of the words to say. So sometimes I stutter a little bit. I'm getting over it. I had to tell myself that I am smart enough. I am educated enough. You get what I'm saying? I had to, what are those things? What is it called?
Affirmations?
Yes. I had to do those every day. Self-care. There are times where Eric will come home for work and I know he wants a little breather, but I'll be like, listen, you got to take the kid. I need a minute. And, you know, like I said, Eric's father would make sure that I would get my nails and stuff done. He would just try to make sure I was out the house. There were times where I was like, okay, Eric, I'm going to go get my nails done. Or I'm going to go to Target. Target was definitely my place to just retail therapy. Okay. Sometimes it's not great, but it worked. Okay.
Because you get up to that register like $387.
You said for what? For this? Oh no, you can keep that. But no, I did do a lot of retail therapy. I did do a lot. And my main thing was getting heels. Heels is definitely my go-to. Saying scriptures, having time with God. I know people are like, well, that everybody says stuff about God. That's like the normal thing that Christians say, God, blah, blah. But I'm telling you how he got me through it, okay?
Yeah. We didn't ask you, I'm asking her.
Right.
It's her overcome story. Yeah.
Right. Self-care, like I said, affirmations, being open and honest to people. This is what I'm dealing with. This is how you made me feel in that moment.
Mm.
And I know my family was like, she ain't never talked to me like that.
And that's the hard part, right? Because it's like you don't tell people, because the reality is that sometimes people don't know, right? Like, let's give people the benefit of the doubt. You don't know, so you understand how this can come off like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you gonna say? But I just want you to understand, when you said this, it made me feel like this. I'm not saying that you are this type of person, but this is how it translated to me.
Right.
Get that. I'm not saying that you are that person. This is how this, the baby's here. This is how this translated to me. Oh, he's here. Hi, Luke. Hey.
Excuse his hair. Say hi.
Hey, Luke. I know. And what else? Uh-huh. And what else? What else?
All right.
Yes. Give the people.
Say bye.
Bye-bye. You like, this my interview now. This is
right.
I'm here.
Right. He only came in here because Eric wanted to be nosy. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay. We love it. Look, he's here. He came in like, it's my debut time.
Right.
I'm the guy y'all been talking about. I'm the one.
Right.
But yeah, I was saying.
But people can't wrap their minds around the fact that you have the nerve to tell me how I made you feel. Yes. In that moment, this is how you made me feel.
Because people will go back to the past, but after all I've done for you, I understand that. But in this moment right here,
exactly,
this is what it is.
I mean, I love and respect my mom, and I'm scared of my mom. But
me too.
There were times where she made me feel like, made me feel little. I remember when I was going through it, and she didn't understand it. And Mom, forgive me for this, but I was like, I want to have another kid. And she was like, do you really want to have another kid? And I was just like, Mom, why would you say that? That's discouraging. Like, why would you say that me dealing with this, I probably shouldn't have another kid? I love my mom to death. Mom, don't beat me. But in that moment, I know she probably was kind of like, you don't ever talk to me like that.
Right. But in her mind, right, because again, I'm learning how to try to understand people.
Exactly.
In her mind, it probably was like, I don't want to see my baby go through this again. Do you really want to have it? But in the moment when you said it, Mom, we love you. I love you here. You don't even know me, but I love you. Okay. In the moment when you said that, it's like, but what do you mean? Yes, I want to have another. Like, why would you? And it probably was the face, because mothers, they got the faces. Right. My kids are gonna have to deal with the faces. I know, because I'm just, I am praying for it now, because I will have them. But I can only imagine, like, because my mom has said stuff to me, and it's not what she said, it was the way that she said it.
It was like,
Like,
but yeah, my family was kind of like, okay, this is a different, like I said, that family member that did something really drastic to my husband and I, I would say that, well, I already said it was a he. He came to the house one day to say something, and I completely went off on him, and he was just like taken back, like, you've never done this to me. But sometimes you gotta get there with people. Sometimes you do. You do. This is where they're at. Sometimes you gotta meet them. I don't want to.
That's the language sometimes people only know.
Right.
And it's unfortunate, because that for me takes a lot of energy.
Yes. And I was telling my husband that earlier. I'm like, there's so many people that are petty. I don't have the energy to be petty anymore. It takes a lot out of you to be petty. And trust me, I was the queen of being petty.
Okay.
I just don't have the energy for it anymore.
Takes way too much. Way too much. Okay. That was your overcome steps. Question number 13. What are some things that helped you throughout? Well, you kind of answered that as well. So I'll just tag that in. Telling people off. You told us, look, just change all your words. Telling people off is what you did. Right. No, I'm just playing. But that was like, that answer kind of number 13. So we'll go to 14. Looking back now, what would you have done differently, if anything?
That's a tricky question, because dealing with postpartum, it's your moods. So I probably would have. You know what? I don't know. That is a good question. You kind of stumped me there just a little bit. And it's not like I didn't read the question. With me not knowing that I had it, I was blinded by it for a good year and some change. So even if I did want to change it, I was so blinded by it, I didn't know it was going on. I don't think I would change anything, because when I did notice that I had it, I reached out for help, and I tried to do what I could have done. I probably would have maybe took therapy. I probably would have done that. I probably would have done it. Just to talk to somebody, to make it seem like, not make it seem, that was the wrong word. Just to talk to somebody to say that you're not crazy. This is something that's real. This is something that other women deal with.
Right. And then sometimes talking to those people, they get to the root cause of things. Like the very first session that I did have, I have to see if that therapist, if she's still working, because COVID happened. I don't know what happened. But the few sessions that I did have with this young lady, she was amazing. And she allowed me to go trace something that I was dealing with all the way back to childhood. Right? And something as simple as like my struggle to voice or just communicate my feelings and emotions and things like that. She helped me trace it back to my childhood. As a child being told, stay in a child's place. As a child being told, stay out of grown folks' business. Like these statements that are common in like our Black households was something that stunted me to communicate, even to the point of being an adult and still walking out of a room of other adults that began to talk. Yeah. Not easily making that transition from like a child, teenager to a woman that transition for me was very difficult. And through therapy, she helped me like be able to uncover all of those things. And I'm like, wow, I never thought about that. Wow, I never thought about that. So
yeah, that was like an aha moment for me. Like you said, you've dealt with staying in a child's place. I've dealt with you're over dramatic, you're too emotional. And so I never knew that was, you know what I mean? That was a trigger word for me, or, you know what I mean? I never knew that was my issue until I dealt with this. They that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. Okay.
He will. That's scripture, guys. I'm going to tag it in here so y'all know what scripture that is. Yes. So we are here at the end. Question number 15. What advice would you give to anyone dealing with postpartum depression?
Okay. Find someone to talk to. You're not crazy. You know what I mean? You're not alone. Even if I know there's so many women that can't get to anybody, you know what I mean, that doesn't have anybody, find time when the baby's asleep to take time to yourself. And he's back again. Take time.
This is the advice right here, guys. He's coming back.
Watch his head, please. Okay, I'm sorry. I was being a mom. Take time for yourself. You know, there's so many people that aren't Christian. So even if I want to be like, get in your word, there's so many people that don't believe. And I'm going to leave that for them to, you know what I mean? Realize if they need, when they need God. But self-care, to be quite honest, self-care and mental wellness, just take time for yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you're not healthy, if your mind's not healthy, you'll be no good to your child.
Absolutely.
So,
or anybody else for that matter.
Exactly. But first work on yourself, then care about everybody else. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And the tagline I would say to that was her advice. I would add, learn how to say no. No is okay.
Yes. And that's another thing, because this is something that I had to do. I know you're like, dang, this is long. But
no, I'm not like that.
In the beginning, when I knew that I was dealing with depression, not postpartum though, when my baby was first born, I knew that I was dealing with depression. I had to stay away from people that I knew would say things that would stick to me. So at that time, it was somebody that, she's not here, but Eric's mom. I knew that I had to stay away from her because me and her did not have a great relationship. And I don't want nobody to think that I'm dogging her out. We did not have a great relationship. So there were certain things that she wanted me to do for my kid that made me feel like I wasn't doing enough. Mm-hmm. So I had to stay away from her. So stay away from people that will aid to your depression. I mean, that's another thing. I didn't even mention that. When she died, that's what aided, another thing that aided to my depression too, because we didn't mend the things that we needed to mend. Make sure you do that as well. Ooh. Make sure you do that as well. Life is
Say it again.
Tomorrow is not promised. Do not hold on to things. You don't have to be besties with these people, but to
let
get
it go. Yes.
Yes, let it go. To get it off of your mind and off of your chest, let it go. Like, this is how I felt in this moment. This is how you made me feel. I apologize if I made you feel anyway, but I'm letting it go. And that's something that I'm definitely working on. That friend that we talked about, I'm working on loving and caring for him. Donjia, I'm working on it.
Oh, I was like, wait, what friend? I don't know what she's talking about.
I'm working on it.
Yes, listen, and like you said, you don't have to be I would say this because
you don't have to be.
Yeah, you don't, because the reality is that we want forgiveness the way that we want it, right?
Exactly. Yes.
We don't seek the way that God says that forgiveness is supposed to look.
Right.
9 times out of 10, it's not the way we want it to look.
Yes.
It is something totally different, right? So we feel like we forgive people, then we have to be in a space, we isolated ourselves from this person. We have been around this person, and then they come back around and then the emotions and everything and the anger and all of it uproars.
Yeah.
And it's like, you didn't really forgive this person. And God is like, you want to do it my way now? Do you want to try it my way? You know, and that's for anybody, right? Like believers and non-believers alike. We have to forgive. We have to forgive.
You want to do it. How do I word this? You want to do it instead of God making you do it.
Okay.
Because when God makes you do it, it's real. When God makes you do something, after he told you, this is what I think, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. And you ignore it and he gets you to do it. It's kind of like, I should have
took the time and did it. Thank you so much for your transparency. I definitely am thinking about another concept. I want to have you back on the YouTube channel. I'll talk to you about that after this. But yes, thank you for being so transparent and open and honest and just sharing things that people didn't even know. And that is what I do these Ask 15 questions for, because there's so much in this world that we don't know about, not just professions, but things that people deal with. Right. We don't talk enough about mental health. I'm definitely going to have to do a disclaimer to let people know, tearjerker alert, to let people know that they may be crying. Yes, I thank you. I thank you so much. Do you have anything else that you want to say?
No, I just thank you for having me on here, because there's been so many times where I was supposed to come out with this testimony a long time ago, but why are you so nosy? You hear him? There's been so many times that I've been trying to, come out and say what I was going through and how I got over it. And something would happen where I didn't do it. And God kept telling me, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it later. And then when you were like, hey, I want to do 15 questions.
Because I'm nosy. So thank you, Lord.
I was like, you know what? Maybe it's meant to be said. Maybe, you know what I mean? You definitely helped me get rid of that fear. And,
So we will be on the lookout for that video. And when she does the video, I'm going to add it to the description of this video so you can go click and watch the full testimony without me rambling on.
Girl, bye.
But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. As I say all the time, make sure you are living in purpose, on purpose. Bye.